Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are reviewing the What If series that has just finished wrapping up on Disney Plus. They have completed their first season. Go and check it out. Okay, today we are talking about it. If you do not know what this series is about, it is based off of the movies, a different timeline, kind of a multiverse. It is revolved around our characters that we have grown up with and learned to love, and it is a different take on them though. So this is following major events that kind of like we're used to seeing, and it's kind of taking them and doing like a different twist on them and taking you into like this multiverse where we have this big brother kind of deal where we have this watcher that is watching all these events unfold. We'll get more into that with later on into this video, but it's a great series. They tell the stories a little bit differently, and I personally I enjoyed the series as an overall. I thought they did an amazing job. When I heard that Marvel was coming out with a series that was all animated, I was super stoked about it. So there are 8 episodes in total, and I will be listing all of them, and we'll be talking a little bit about them. But my favorite one has to be the Doctor Strange episode. That one, it was just, first of all, Doctor Strange is like one of my favorite Marvel characters. Just his story, and I love the way that he's portrayed in the actual films. So seeing him in the series, and we did get the same actor to voice Doctor Strange in the animated series. Can't say that for all the roles, but that was okay. I was okay with that. I wasn't like super bothered with, oh, it's not the same Tony Stark, that we're used to hearing. That I was all right with that. That wasn't a big like miss for me. I was okay with that because we were like in a multiverse setting. The different voices didn't actually bother me, but I did love like Doctor Strange. It was the same actor, so I really appreciated that. So I did really like a lot of the episodes. I have to be honest, not all the episodes like resonated with me. Some of the episodes was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, like I like the story and heard it out and everything, and then on to the next episode. And that's what I actually really liked about these episodes. They weren't so long. You weren't sitting there for like an hour and a half and listening to these stories and like, oh, okay, I don't really like it. What I really liked what they did was they were short enough to where you didn't like it, you didn't feel like you wasted so much time. And they do, when I first watched it, I wasn't sure about it because I watched like the first like 2-3 episodes, and I was like, okay, there was no like real set ending on any of these episodes, the first couple ones that I saw, and I was like, okay, are they gonna like tie these in? Like, what are they gonna do? And I didn't really understand what was going on. So I gave it a shot, and me being like a huge like Marvel nerd and wanting to see all the episodes and animes and everything that I can, like I was like, fine, like I'll give it a shot. Overall, I think this series was awesome. I think it's one for the books. I think they need to up their game for the second season, which I'm super excited that they've already announced that they're doing a second season. If you have not seen this series yet, go and watch it. I highly recommend it. I think I highly recommend like any video that I watch, but there's some that I kind of go back and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's not do that one. But I think this series was an awesome series to watch. If you do get a chance, watch it. You are gonna like some episodes. I think you're going to like more episodes than others. That's just what I personally think. But let's talk a little bit about the actual episodes. So as I said in the beginning, we do have a watcher that oversees all these events that are going on. So in episode 1, we do have, what if Captain Carter was the first Avenger? So this one was, instead of Steve Rogers taking the super soldier serum, it was Peggy. So Steve Rogers, in a nutshell, Steve Rogers gets injured, and Peggy's the one that ends up actually taking the serum and we see her process of becoming the super soldier. And I actually like this one because I think women being empowered like that, I think it's just beautiful. I think it sends a great message, and I loved seeing the roles reverse. And it was just so sweet to where she was still in love with Steve. You still see the relationship there, and it was just nice to see that. You get to see her story play out. It was a very nice beginning episode. Like I said, the first 3 for me weren't the best, but I did really like that she became the super soldier instead of Steve Rogers, so that's why I was still intrigued and I still really liked it. Episode 2, what if T'Challa became Stardory? So I think they did an awesome job on this episode, where we got to remember our favorite actor, and he got to voice T'Challa one more time in this series. And I think Boseman was just an amazing human being. It was great to hear his voice one last time in this series. I did really like this episode. The only reason I said at the beginning that the first 3 episodes didn't resonate with me so much was just because the ending. I didn't get that clear ending that I wanted. But the actual episode of this one, it was so heart-touching and so heartfelt. I really liked how they brought it all together there. Episode 3. What if the world lost its mightiest heroes? Now, this is one episode that I had to actually go back, do a little bit of research on it, because I actually forgot what this one was. It was a good episode, it was. But we kind of see Nick Fury. He's trying to bring the Avengers in, and they are getting killed off one by one by one. We have where Hank Pym is actually the one that goes around like killing all the Avengers, and it's a pretty like to me it was a little dark, because Hank Pym, he's so nice in the movies, but in this episode, he was the actual villain. And so just kind of seeing that, it was crazy. Episode 4. This one was by far my favorite. This one was, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? So in a nutshell, Doctor Strange loses his love, Christine, and still plays out and going through the mystic arts and all of that. But instead of him moving on with his life, he tries to use the time stone. He comes into contact with the time stone, and he tries to undo what already happened. And this happens to be like a point where it just kind of drains Doctor Strange and makes him just relive it and relive it and relive it, and he ends up turning to the dark magic and all of that. And so he ends up being separated into 2. You gotta watch this episode. I don't want to go into super detail on it, but you gotta watch this episode. He ends up being split in 2, becomes evil, swallows the good Doctor Strange, and then he's screaming out in anguish. And this is the first time where we see the Watcher super close up. So all the other episodes leading up to this one, we've seen the Watcher kind of far away and far away and far away. But as the episodes start going on, we start to see the Watcher pushing forward and pushing forward. The Watcher first makes contact in this episode with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange has been so engulfed in all the darkness that he's been consuming. And so he finally sees the Watcher, and he hears the Watcher, and he's like, help me, you can stop this. And the Watcher's like, no, I can't. And it ends like that. Oh my gosh. And it's so sad how this one ends. And so then we move on to episode 5. So episode 5 is what if zombies. If you are a zombie fanatic, you will enjoy what if zombies. All are superheroes, almost all of them. I think with the exception of I think there's a couple of them, with the exception of Ant-Man, which is just ahead. But the zombies episode was just awesome, seeing our superheroes as zombies. And I mean, you can't get anything better than that, right? Episode 6, what if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark? So if you know Killmonger from the actual films, you know that he's evil. So this episode doesn't really show us anything different. It just, Killmonger saves Tony, but then ends up killing him and everybody else later on in the episode. So they didn't really give him like a good, I don't think this was like a good, like, what if. I think it would have been nice if they showed Killmonger like in a different setting, maybe not the villain, you know, just something different. But I understood what they were setting up for the, because he does come out later in the episodes. But I wish they would have done a little bit more with him just, oh yeah, he saved Tony Stark, but then I'm gonna kill him. So yeah, this episode was kind of like a meh for me. Okay. Episode 7. So this one was, what if Thor was the only child? This one is Party Thor. I thought this one was a cute episode. Some of the jokes, I know I've already seen some of like reviews and people saying, you know, people are mixed on this episode, because some people are like, yeah, like they liked Party Thor, but then on the other hand, it was like a little too much Party Thor. I loved it. I thought it was awesome seeing Loki like full, like big ol' ass giant, and with his like thorns and everything. I loved how Loki was portrayed on this one. Even though it was for like a short moment, I did really like this episode. I did think this one dragged on a little bit at times. It was like a lot of partying, but I get it, he was Party Thor. At the end of this one though, when the Watcher's telling the story here, we hear Thor gets his happy ending here where he gets Jane and everything, and they're like, oh, okay. And then opens a portal, and here we have Ultravision like coming in, and the Watcher says, oh, you know, it's kind of like a happy ever after. And then when he's like, wait, what? And then Thor sees it too, and they're like, Ultravision comes in, and boom, right? Okay. And then it ends. It just ends there, and you're like, wait, what just happened? So that was the only frustrating thing about this whole series, is like every time you thought there was going to be an ending, it was like a weird like setup for like the next one or whatever. So here we go with episode 8. So this episode was, what if Ultron won? Again, this was another episode that I really enjoyed, and you get to see the actual fusion of Ultron and Vision. This episode was nice. I did like this one. It is one that I recommend to go and watch and see it. I think I watched this one maybe like 2-3 times, just because I liked it. So make sure to go and see that one. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to give like too much away. You gotta see them for yourselves. So last episode we have episode 9. This is where everything ties in together. So the episode before, we have our Ultravision like coming in, and this one is, what if the Watcher broke his oath? So as I was saying before, we saw the Watcher from the very beginning, super far back, not really getting involved, and as we get closer and closer and closer, we see the Watcher get involved so much that he actually asked Doctor Strange to help him. I think this one was a great way to finish the first season. We get to see the Watcher bring his group of people together to create the Guardians of the Multiverse. He actually goes back to the previous episodes, collects the people that he wants, brings them back. Now the one that we didn't get to see an episode for was the one with Gamora. So Gamora actually first appears in this last episode, and we get a little bit of a glimpse with her and Tony, and this is like the only episode that Tony doesn't die in. But this episode was like supposedly pushed back because of COVID, and it was pushed to the second season. Now I don't know, maybe they just are pulling our leg and just wanted to put it for the second season. I don't know. So we didn't really get to see Gamora's origin story on her episode, but we got to see everybody else's. So the Watcher picks Doctor Strange and picks Black Widow and Captain Carter, and we have T'Challa, and we have Party Thor. So we have all these characters, and they're coming back. Killmongers, and they're also the Watcher already had everything planned out. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in season 2, because he broke his oath. Now what? Now what's the consequence of what he did? So I guess we'll have to just wait and see. And I hope you all go and watch the series. I didn't want to go too much in depth about it, because I just want to get you excited about it, and I think it's a great series to see. And go out and watch it. Thank you all so much for joining. I will see you all next time, and take care.